At Lifehack Coaching, we help women over 35 to balance hormones naturally, boost metabolism, and lose weight sustainably.
All right, welcome back to a podcast. Today I'm chatting with Catherine, who lost just over 10 kilos in last 14 weeks. Catherine has completely changed her lifestyle, what she eats, how she trains, how she thinks about her body and her food. We're going to talk about what's been working for her and what's not, and what's made big difference. Because like everyone else, when Catherine came to me, she said that nothing works. And I hear it all the time, and I love hearing that because it's like, yes, challenge accepted. So we found something that actually works and made big difference for Catherine. So take me back to where it's all started. And yeah, what was your biggest struggle with weight loss and your health?
Yeah, sure. So I have chronic illness, and I've always thought that maybe that has something to do with my weight, but also I've kind of fluctuated always up and down a few kilos here and there. And I've tried in the past to really drop quite a number of kilos, but it's always been a really hard struggle and consistently really hard every day. And I think you get to the stage where you think this is just too hard. It shouldn't be this hard. And so I into my 40s now, and I just want to feel healthier, and I want to feel like myself, and like I'm feel the best that I can feel, and know that I'm fueling my body the best I can. The older we get, the more we need to look after ourselves. So I just thought something has to change, and I need to find something else because it can't be this hard.
Yes. So what was your last drop? Like, why did you decide to reach out to me? Because you reached out to me earlier, and then we spoke, and you're like, nah, too expensive, don't want to do it. And then you walk away, and then how many months later? Would have been 4 or 5?
To be about that. So in the past, I'd had another health coach, and it was just like it worked, but it was a really, really hard struggle, and it didn't feel right for my body. It always felt like I was pulling against what my body was actually telling me. It wasn't allowing me, that program allowing me to listen to my body in what I thought it was trying to tell me. And so I tried to do it on my own. I tried to just increase my exercise. I tried to do things that had worked when I was younger, and it just wasn't working. And I just felt like I was falling further and further behind where I wanted to be. I felt terrible. I was stressed about it. I was really anxious. And so I looked online at health coaches and started looking more into perimenopause and why what I used to do just isn't working any longer. And I reached out to you, and we had a chat, and what you were saying really just resonated with me and gave me some really good insights into what you thought I was experiencing and why. And just even in that initial consultation, I think I learned more than I had in the past. And you just really made me feel like I wasn't alone, and you understood what was happening and what might be happening at that stage, and gave me some real confidence that you might be able to help me. And I really liked the approach. It was really factual, really informative, and it wasn't like airy-fairy, because I'm just not that person. I like facts and figures and results. And you're right. I did go, oh no, this is just too expensive. I can't commit this to it. And as I say, went on and tried to do it myself, but I just kept coming back to thinking about your program and you and the information that you'd shared. And I just decided, actually, I'm worth it. And I owe it to myself to really look after me and my body and really give it a big try. So that's where we are.
Yeah, exactly. It's very common, so common. Even with myself, I would happily spend money on kids and I don't know, food and shoes and bags and whatever. But when it comes to working with the coach, you always question, like, I should know how to do it. Why should I pay someone to do it? Like, I know what to do, but what difference are they going to make for that amount of money? Like, how suddenly they're going to make it work? And sometimes it's not about what they know, because information is free. You can find whatever you want online if you look for it, right? It's about tailoring it to you, explaining it to you, holding your hand when you're making certain decisions, and then discussing how you can change certain behaviors or what adjustments you should be making, because there's so much information out there that is really confusing for a lot of people. And I still get clients that message me and go, oh, I just saw something, this, should we try that? And I'm like, no, why? Why should we try something? What we're doing isn't working.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things you see it and you get excited. You're like, oh, it's worked for them. I should try it too. But just because it worked for them doesn't mean I'm going to work for you, because you've got different body, you've got different struggles, you've got different underlying issues as well. So, yeah, I get a bit frustrated as well. You've seen that comment a lot on the women's pages where people ask advice from people, and it's great to ask, and sometimes there is really good advice out there from people from their own experiences, but they're not qualified to give that advice.
No.
They haven't studied for years and years to learn about certain things, so what they've learned from own personal experience, so then the advice that they give is what worked for them. But again, we're going back to what worked for them doesn't necessarily will work for you. So you can take it on board and you can go, oh, cool, that worked for them. That's fantastic. And then get advice from someone who's qualified to give that advice and from someone who can tailor it to you. But yeah, it's interesting. I wish more women would actually invest in themselves, because if you invest in your health now and learn and can carry on, it can improve your life later down the track as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think while there's so much information, you're right. Well, there is so much information, but there's too much information and it can contradict each other. And as you say, it's people's personal experiences, or they're trying to sell you a supplement or giving you a magic cure-all solution that apparently works for every single person. And that's just not real. And so I think I just really needed to find someone that I could really trust their knowledge and experience and have real confidence in them. And yeah, that's why I went with you.
Yeah. So what have you changed, or what changed for you when you started to change your style of eating, or Yeah,
absolutely. So in the past, I've always thought, it has to be low carb. It has to be low carb, and you have to eat lots of legumes, or you don't have to eat lots of legumes. Like, it's so confusing what you should and shouldn't do. And I've tried low carb before, and it does not work for my body. Like, I'll come home and just eat half the pantry in late afternoon when I get home, and not actually understanding why that was happening. So the biggest change for me was understanding that carbs are not the enemy, and you need carbs, but it's the types of carbs that you have. And protein, I've always understood that protein is important, but I think it'd be fair to say I've never understood just how important it is. And the big surprise for me was how important fiber is, because everyone says you need fiber, but I didn't understand why fiber is so important. And it was a real revelation for me to understand that the foods that, if I listen to our body and I intuitively go to, are actually the ones that are working.
Yes.
So the right carbs, proteins,
yes,
and fats are really, they make me feel good. And understanding that if I fuel my body with those things, I'm not reaching for all the processed stuff, because my body's getting what it needs. So it's been a total revelation.
And I think the key is being prepared too. If your pantry is prepared for the right choices, you are going to make right choices. But if you leave it until last minute, then and you're starving, then of course you're going to grab whatever. I know with myself, because I have sensitive blood sugar levels, if I don't eat on time, then I'll start getting shakes. And if I start getting shakes, automatically I know I need sugar to fix those, so I'm not feeling sick. And guess what I'm going to go for? Chocolate, because that will give me, or honey, or actual sugar, because that's what's going to give me immediate fix the issue, and I'll stop shakes and I'll feel better, right? But if I eat regularly throughout the day and prepared with my meals, then I'm not going to get myself into the situation where I have to get a block of chocolate to fix it. So
yeah, that was really cool to learn why. And I've always been quite good at meal prepping during the week, but the weekends is where, because you're out of your normal routine, that I haven't ever been as great at. And I've noticed that when I plan and I have healthy choices available, then I'm not waiting till 3 o'clock to eat lunch, because it just hasn't occurred to me to eat, and then not devouring all the stuff in the pantry. Like, I have a child, we have lots of processed food options at home, which aren't great. So for me, I've just had to make sure that I have tasty, healthier options there, so that I'm not just reaching for all the not great choice snacks all the time.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like, we buy all those snacks for our kids. I do that too. But then I start, every time now I go to the supermarket and I buy those quick snacks, because that's what they eat at school. And I remember my daughter a couple of years ago came to me and said, "Mummy, everyone is asking me, why do I have vegetables and fruit in my lunchbox and nothing else. And I'm like, try to fit you healthy. But anyway, so now what I do is I go to the supermarket and I go, will I eat this? Will I
True.
actually eat
Yeah.
this? And if I say no, then
Then
I'm
they
not
can
going to
have,
buy it for my kids.
yeah, they can't have it. Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes, yes, we have to pick, make better choices and pick your battles and all that stuff. So yes, I buy them like a muesli bar. Yes, I wouldn't eat it myself, but if I'm starving, I will eat it. So I'll always kind of go, what's better option out of those two not so great options, and go for it. I look at the labels, I read the words on it, making sure like it has minimal crap added to it.
Yeah.
But you have to pick your battles with kids too. Like, I'd rather have a few kids than starving kid, right? Just because they're not going to eat anything in their lunchbox. But I guess if they're hungry, they'll eat.
No,
And they do.
definitely. Well, some do, some don't. And I think the other lesson that you taught me was, why would an orange be a better choice than this? Well, it gives you the vitamin C and the fiber and all that. So it's not just the fact that it's a piece of fruit, it's what does it do for your body.
Yeah.
So that's been quite good.
Yeah, and that's what I do with kids as well. I explain to them, like when they're sick, I go, all right, let's have an orange. And like, I don't want an orange. I'm like, it's vitamin C. You want to feel better? Do you want to go to your sports? Do you want to go to school? They go, yeah. I'm like, eat orange.
Yeah.
And that's how we talk. Like if they say, I don't want to eat chicken tonight, I'm like, do you want muscles? Do you want a good immune system so you don't get sick? Eat your chicken.
Yes, exactly.
So they're learning why we need to eat this. It's not like, you need to eat this so you stay skinny, so you don't get overweight. No, it's more like, what does it do for your body? What function it has and what benefit? Anyway, so a lot of people want fast results, or a lot of women want fast results, right? We all want fast results. What kept you going when things weren't as fast?
Sure. So for me, it was really remembering that my brain is wired to not want to do hard things and to stay in a safe zone where nothing's threatening or scary or different. And so it was really remembering that my brain, if it doesn't want to do it, it's telling me, I don't want to do it because this is uncomfortable for me, but really believing that actually what I'm doing is working, is right for my body, and reminding me of the reasons why I'm doing it, and just having to push through that feeling. Because previously I'd be like, oh, it's just too hard. I just don't want to do that, or I don't feel like it today. But using that memory to push through and to keep going. And when I might have a few days that I'm just like, oh, I'm not feeling this, I'll turn around and I've dropped after a few days 600, 800 grams. I'm like, oh, it does work. And that's enough to keep me going on.
Yeah, it's consistency, right? Like everyone lose weight differently. And I found this, I can group people in certain category, how they lose weight. And for some people, they have big drops and then they plateau for quite a long time. And then they have big drops and then they plateau. Some people go up and down all the time. As long as it goes down, it's absolutely fine. But up and down, it's absolutely normal. Other people just consistently go down. So everyone is so different. And in probably after about a month, I kind of can see a pattern that and then when client goes, oh, nothing's happening, I'm like, look at your pattern, how you lose weight. This is normal for you specifically. So don't freak out. That's all okay for you.
And I think I mostly consistently drop in most days, which is really motivating.
Yeah. And you've noticed around a certain time of your month, that's where you either plateau or gain a little bit, and then you have bigger drops. So that's good to see as well, right? So during this journey, did you ever feel deprived? Do you feel like we've cut too many foods out, or you had to make big changes to your lifestyle?
I think for me, it's probably been on the whole the easiest weight loss program or system that I've followed ever. And I think that's because of the reduced cravings that I've had, because I'm giving my body what it needs. I think you and I, we both discovered that some techniques just do not work for me. And I feel like I've got quite sensitive blood sugar. Like we've talked about that before. And so fasting is not something that I enjoy, but it's maintaining that stable blood sugar that really works. So that's probably the biggest thing. And I've found that if I'm not feeling my body properly and I'm craving chips or sugar or like lollies, then if I look back at my day, it's actually because I haven't had enough fiber or enough carbs or enough protein earlier. And so like today I was like, oh, that lunch isn't quite enough, doesn't have quite enough carbs. So I had a banana as well, because I thought if I don't, I'm going to get to 4 o'clock and want to eat everything in sight because my blood sugar will have dropped.
Yeah.
So on the whole, like when I'm really paying attention to what I'm putting in my body, I don't have significant cravings. So it really has been the easiest process that I've ever done, to be honest.
That's good. There's no secret formula in what you do, right? It's literally just eat enough, eat the whole foods, make sure you track your foods, make sure you get enough fiber. For you, fiber is really important.
Yes.
Eat the fiber, eat protein, and don't get yourself to a hungry state, because once you get to a hungry state, then
No one needs
it's
to do
over.
that. It's not a good idea. And I mean, my husband is blown away at the volume of food that I eat. And that was probably something that I had to really overcome, was just how much food my body needs. And I remember speaking to you in the first couple of weeks and being like, I can't do this. I cannot eat this much food. Like, I am so full. But then
I remember that.
But then your body adjusts, and
Yep.
I actually need that volume of vegetables and fruit, because I guess my body's just used to it now. That's what I need. And my skin's better. My hair's growing like a weed. Yeah, there's a lot of other changes that aren't just weight related.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I'm sure it's going to be very empowering and encouraging for some other people who sitting on the fence and not sure if they should invest in themselves or not.
Yeah,
Really
I hope
appreciate you
so.
being here.
No, pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
If you have any questions about this podcast or about hormones, weight loss, or just healthier lifestyle, please go to our website at lifehackcoaching.co.nz, or feel free to email me directly, Anastasia at lifehackcoaching.co.nz.